Hello friends, today is the 5th Sunday. You know what that means. 5th Sunday Craft with Friends. I'm so excited. We have Cris with At Home with Cris. We have Bailey with Reclaim Grace. You are going to love these gals. I sent them a box of supplies to craft with, the same things I'm going to craft with, and we're going to see how differently we all create with those. One of the things that everybody has to create with is this copper tag from Dollar Tree. I'm going to show you how I turned it in to this adorable Rusty Crusty tag. Let's get crafting. These are the items that were in the box that I sent to the other girls. Some chiffon ribbon, of course, and some buttons. A lot of these came out of my grandmother's button box, so they are vintage. And a picture frame from Dollar Tree. It's a plastic frame with a glass insert, 4x4 inch. And we are going to use whatever's in our stash and add to this. This is a hardback book. I have no idea what it's about, but we're gonna craft with it. And of course, the copper tag, the copper metal tag. And then this large spindle. It was a table leg, and there's no way I could have possibly shipped that in a decent sized box, so I just cut it and made 2 out of it. So I'm anxious to see what they created. But now I'm going to show you what I created. There is a plastic film on these little tags, so first of all we'll remove that, and we will remove this twine hanger. Now I'm going to take some little black dress by DIY. Get my DIY paints from Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs. Her website is linked in my description box if you're interested in DIY paints, IOD products, Saltwash. She's got thrifted items and all sorts of things over there. So I'm doing this on both sides, drying it down with my heat gun. Now we are going to Rusty Crusty it with the Dixie Belle products. There are more products than this to use. These are just the ones that I ordered. I'm going to use the iron paint. Now, you put 1 coat on, let it dry completely. And then the second coat is when you start using the spray. So this is what I did. And I sponged it on because I wanted it to have a little bit more texture so that that spray would kind of fall down in the crevices and it would look more like, you know, rust. Okay, I'm applying the second coat now. And same as the first. Now, while this paint is still wet, we are going to apply the green. And it comes out kind of yellow, which is kind of interesting. Or it kind of turns it yellow. It comes out green, but it kind of turns it yellow. And then I wasn't quite sure how much or where to spray it. And the blue kind of squirts. It doesn't really spray, even on the spray, when you have the nozzle turned to spray. So this was my first time using it. Wasn't quite sure how to use it. But the instructions say if you use the heat gun, it intensifies the rust. But I love, love, love how this turned out. I only did that on the front side. I'm going to take the ephemeral type IOD stamp and some mixing white ink. Well, you're supposed to use this to lighten up ink, I believe. I don't think you're supposed to use it as an ink, but we are today. I'm going to take these stamps. You just pull the IOD stamps right off the sheet. Don't do like I did and ruin my stamps and cut them up. Yeah, I did that to my first set I got, but it's okay. We live and learn. And I'm just going to set them where I want them and how I want it to look on there, and then take the, I forget what this is called. Oh my goodness. Well, it's the sheet that you can get. It's large. I just cut mine up so that I have a smaller one. It's going to come to me in a minute. Y'all are probably yelling at me what it is. It's a backer sheet. Anyway, it's a carrier sheet. It's the sheet you put your stamps on. Okay. Anyway, they're going to stick to it just the way I had them down. It's so awesome. Now, I do not want this to kind of be full coverage, so I didn't ink it completely. And this little tool I have is a stamping press, and my friend Myra over at Farm Fresh Designs 59 told me about it, and it's in my Amazon store. I think this turned out perfect. It looks distressed. Now here we go with the chiffon ribbon that I love so much. We're going to make a hanger with it. And I think it's just the perfect touch because it brings just a little bit of elegant to the Rusty Crusty. And I just love, love, love it. Just going to tie a little knot up top. And then I decided to trim down the edges, but I decided to just kind of make them a little bit more frayed. Just trim it up. Like that. And there it is. This was the before. And here is the after. As I mentioned in the intro, this is 5th Sunday Craft with Friends collab. I do this on the 5th Sunday of every month, which is just a few times a year. We have Bailey with Reclaimed Grace and Cris at Home with Cris. They are amazing creators. Please go check them out. Their videos and their websites will be linked, not their websites, their channels will be linked in the description box below. Next, we're going to use the book. Now, I am going to cover it with this packing paper because I'm going to cover it with the canvas drop cloth, but it's kind of thin and I didn't want those letters or that dark on the book to show through. So it's just a little extra step, but I think it's worth it in the long run. And I'm not going to cover it like you cover a book with a book cover. I'm just going to do just like you see me doing here. Just the front, the spine, and the back. We won't go all the way to the insides. That won't be necessary. I'm just using a regular glue stick like you buy the kids for school. I use these a lot when I'm crafting. I go through these a lot. I'm going to use my little squeegee to help press that paper down into the glue. And that way there's not a lot of air bubbles or anything in there. And it'll be nice and flat. So when I go to put down my canvas drop cloth, it'll adhere really nicely to it and it won't be all bulky. And same on the back, same process. Then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and slice that excess off. Oops, little piece wasn't stuck. And we just go in there and fix it. You can see there's a few little bubbles right there on top. I went back in and just pressed that down and fixed it. Now we're going to take the drop cloth. I'm just measuring it out to see how much I'm going to need, and we're going to trim it down. This is like covering books when you were in school. I love to use canvas drop cloth. It is so versatile, and it has a little bit of stretch or give, so you can see that I'm pulling it pretty taut in there. I love it because it's, like I said, very versatile. I'm going to use some Titebond Quick and Thick, my favorite glue to use, and I'm going to use my little spatula to smear it so there's no lumps and bumps. And I'm also going to use my squeegee to push that glue into the fabric. Now I'm going to make some little snips right there like you see me doing so that the fabric will fold over. I'm going to use hot glue right here because I need it to adhere quickly. So I'm going to put a good amount of hot glue there, and I'm going to fold it over and press it down tightly so that that glue meshes with the book and the drop cloth. We're just going to wrap this up kind of like it's a gift. I like to take this time to say, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Kendra, and you are watching Late Night Creations. I'm a night owl. I love to craft late at night. I started that when my children were small, and it was the only time I got some peace and quiet. So that is why it's the late night. My last name is Knight, and it's just a little play on words, Late Night Creations. And I've used that name way before I ever started my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. Consider subscribing. Be sure you give this video a thumbs up. And let's get back to the video here. Okay, so I just snipped that off, and then I'm just putting a little bead of glue right down there on the spine, and then I'm tucking it down in there. And then what's left over will you can just unravel it, and then it won't unravel past the glue. That's kind of nice about the drop cloth as well. Like I said, it's very versatile. I'm just cutting away a little corner there so it's not so bulky when we fold it over. It's kind of hard, like I needed something to hold it up, so I just propped it up against myself and used my body to help. So I'm just going to tuck that little piece in right there. I'm going to use some hot glue. I'm just going to put a little dab there. I'm going to use my other hot glue because that one is cordless, and if you leave it off the charging station too long, guess what? You got it. It's not hot anymore, and I had left it off too long, so I had to grab my big one. And the cord is not long enough from where I have to plug it in to reach over to me, so it's a little... I'm knocking stuff off the counter and everything when I have to drag it across there. Okay, now we are going to take the Birds and Bees IOD stamp along with the IOD Winter Adornment with some black ink, and we're going to ink it up, and we're all ready to stamp it on our book. Clean up the edges so that we don't have any little lines. If you're doing that on a painted surface, it's okay because you can go back and do some touch-up paint. But if you're not, if you're doing it on cloth, then you're in trouble if you don't clean up your stamp. Okay, we're going to press it down with our little stamping press, and voila, look how pretty our bird is. We always want to clean up our stamps and take good care because they are expensive. Okay, this little winter adornment leaf was the only little vine leaf I could find in my stamps, and I knew I wanted something like this across the top. So I did one going one way, one going the other, and I decided there needed to be something in the middle. So I thought I'll just put the bottom part of this little leaf vine branch right down the center. And it looks adorable. Just fine. Now I'm going to take these two buttons and some green embroidery thread, and I'm going to take the smaller one and sit it on top of the larger one and just layer it up. We're going to put those two together, and then I'm not sure what I'm doing there. I think I lost my string. Had to rethread it. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to tie it in a knot at the top, and then I'm going to tie the teeny tiniest little bow. Well, I tie a bow, and then I just keep pulling the ends until it's a teeny tiny little bow. And I cut those strings long because I thought I wanted them to like dangle, but later I cut them off because I did not want them to. I'm just going to glue that right kind of in the center right there, and that is cute. Now we're going to take some chiffon ribbon. I have this in a sage green and the cream, and we're going to just tie it up right there on top of the little birdie's head. I did it in like a triple knot, and then that last time I really loosened the knot up because it just kind of is for looks. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue right in there and right in there because this chiffon ribbon is very flimsy and we need to secure it. Now I did take that greenery stamp from the winter adornment and stamped the spine, and then I took a couple of extra buttons that already had the thread in them and placed them on the spine as well, and this one is done. Now, let's see what we can do with this plastic frame with the glass inside. Well, we're going to take the glass out. let's take the glass out and ditch it. And let's use a piece of cardboard. That makes sense, right? I'm going to trace the cardboard. We're going to make it look beautiful, trust me. We're going to trace it using the piece of glass so that we get it the right size. I'm going to use my rotary cutter. You could use a pair of scissors. This was just quick and easy for me. And I've got a piece of canvas drop cloth, and we are going to glue it to the piece of cardboard. This is just a piece of scrap cardboard that I have. Probably came out of a calendar or something like that that was keeping it secure. I'm just haphazardly smearing that over. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to get my little spatula, my little squeegee, and I'm going to smooth it all out so it adheres nicely, and take my scissors and trim that down. Now I'm going to take that ephemeral type IOD stamps again with the black ink, and I'm going to choose a different stamp this time. I'm going to choose that one. These are beautiful stamps. There's a lot to choose from in this one stamp page. So I'm going to peel that off. We're going to ink it up. Here we go. I'm telling you, that was one big sheet, and I cut it down to smaller pieces. I kind of got these out of order as I was editing. And I'm going to ink it up with the black. I'm going to ink it up really good, because when you're doing it on cloth, it's going to soak it up. And then I'm going to use my little helper here. Just holding it securely and then just rubbing it down tight, firmly, and voila. Now, I'm just going to sand this frame a little bit with my finger sander, lightly sand it all over just so the paint will stick, and I just get rid of that little gloss. Now, I'm going to take a little black dress and pounce all over it, and then I end up getting a little bit of old school out. It's a little bit of a dark charcoal gray. Has a little bit of a blue undertone, and I'm just pouncing it all over. We are going to do the exact same method we did on the tag. So I'm not showing you all those steps. It's the same exact method. And so that's what it looked like. We're going to take the little cardboard piece that we put made our sign. We're going to pop it in there, close it back up, and now we have a cute little sign. I'm going to take this little greenery, and I'm putting some hot glue in the middle of it to kind of hold it together so that I can wrap some twine around it. Now I'm going to wrap some twine right around the middle just to hold it together. And then I'm making a bow out of some ribbon, just 2 loops, tie it in the middle, and fluff it up. And then I'm going to glue it right in the center of that greenery. Not sure why I didn't glue the greenery down first. I didn't want to commit. Now I made a loopy, very loopy twine bow and glued it all down. And I think this turned out adorable. I hope that you all are enjoying this video. I want you to be sure and go to the description box down below and check out Chris's channel, her video for today. Check out Bailey's channel and her video for today. They'll be linked in the description box below, just like every time we have a collab. Now, let's get back to crafting. Okay, let's tackle those spindles. My favorite. I saved my favorite for last. Well, I was just working away trying to use the finger sander to sand this thing down. Instead, I decided to go outside and use my orbital sander to sand it, and that was much easier. And then I'm going to take some dark wax by DIY, and I'm trying to get it down in all those little nooks and crannies, and my brush just isn't working that great, so I went and got my chippy brush, and this works much better to get in the nooks and crannies. But then I really like the makeup brush because it gives such a smooth finish, and it works so quickly. It rubs that wax on there so nicely. And then I'm going to take my scrap piece of an old undershirt one of my husband's old undershirts and just buff it and get rid of all the excess and make it all nice and smooth and beautiful. And now I'm just going to take a little bit of white and try to highlight it a little bit in a few places. And I just kept doing that until I got it how I wanted it to look. I'm going to take some eyelet screws. I get these off Amazon. They are in my Amazon store. It's in the description box below. If you want to go and check out all my favorite crafting items, they are in there. I'm going to pre-drill some little holes so that these are much easier to screw in. I'm going to put one on each end because we're going to make a hanger for it. I'm going to use this little piece of twine to find where I want my other hole to go, to make it straight and to make it even. And I'm going to do the same process for the second eyelet. Now I'm going to put two on the bottom so that I can hang this little frame. Now you could also hang a cute little sign from it. This little sign would be really cute hanging. But I'm going to hang this little Dollar Tree sign. It had its own hanger, which I took off because I'd put some dark wax around the frame. It was a little bit lighter, and I wanted it to pop a little bit more. So you can see I'm measuring where I want it to hang, and I'm doing the same thing, making some little pilot holes so I can put my eyelet screws in. I'm having a little hard time with words tonight. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. It's been a wonderful week. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. And, you know, it is that time of year right now. And I hope you have a great New Year. I'm trying to prop it up so it doesn't go rolling around all over my table. And then we're going to just take that hanger from the sign and use it and run it through those eyelet screws. And it's a little bit long. I felt like it was a little bit long. Oh, we'll deal with that in a minute. I have the wire jute cord from Dollar Tree, and it looks like I need to go purchase some more. And I'm going to just put it in there or wrap it around itself. And you can cut the wire with the wire cutters, but not the jute. Now, it unravels from the wires. So I take a little bit of the Tite Bond or hot glue and just twist it so that it doesn't unravel. And then there's our nice little hanger. This is where I decide that that's too long. So I just pull it up wherever I feel like it's the right length for me. And then I'm going to take my staple gun and I'm going to staple that down there and then put some hot glue in. I'm going to hammer the staples in a little bit more because for some reason that staple did not want to go all the way in that wood when I just stapled it. I'm going to put some hot glue in that hole, a little bit of hot glue around just for extra hold. And then I hot glued a little clothespin right to the center, and I thought some 4x6 photos would be cute in there. I didn't have any out in the craft cottage, so I just cut some 4x6 scrapbook paper so that you could see, but I do have a photo in the final shot. Okay, now I have this little bowl. I have this little wood round. My brother-in-law cut a bunch of these out for me one time, but you can also get them at any of the hobby stores. This little wooden bowl I picked up at the Goodwill for 99 cents. I'm giving it a good scuff with the sandpaper because it was a little bit slick and I want my paint to adhere really well. I'm going to take Vintage Linen by DIY and I'm going to give all 4 of these pieces of wood a good coat of paint. I did 2 coats. And now this little bowl, we are going to rust it up so it looks like a rusty metal bowl. And guess what it does? So now you can see that we've used this method on metal, we've used it on plastic, and now we've used it on wood. So now this is the wet. This is while it's wet. I'm spraying it to make it rust. I did the outside and the inside, but I'm not being redundant and showing all the steps because this video's already long and I don't want it to be any longer than it has to be, because you good people have lots more to do with your time than watch the same process over and over. So we're going to dry it with the heat gun, and this turns out so cute. And I just put it on that paper towel so it didn't get everywhere and make a mess, but it also served kind of as a lazy Susan for me. You can see how it looks all rusted and got a little verdigris on it. I love it. Now I'm going to take some clear wax, and I am going to clear wax all 3 of these pieces that are still white, and then I'm going to take some dark wax. Now the reason that I'm doing that is because I don't want the dark wax to be too dark. So the clear wax is going to keep the dark wax from being as dark as it normally would. And as you can see, I'm not doing a full coat. You know, I'm just kind of doing it sporadic. I just want a little bit to make it look a little bit aged. So concentrate more around the edges and just kind of using my little old t-shirt, piece of an old t-shirt, to buff it out. Same with this little round. We're just going to do it right around the edges mostly. And then when I buff it with that t-shirt, some of that will get all over. Then I'm going to take my finger sander and I'm going to just barely sand the edges a little bit to distress it, but not a lot. Then go back over it with the dark wax in the places where it was distressed, because I like that look. You do your look however you like it. This is just for inspiration. And I hope that you are inspired to just take some old stuff or some Dollar Tree items and make them your own and make them into something beautiful for your home decor. God has given us talent to do this, and I believe that we should use our talent. And if you think you don't have talent, then you're doubting God, and we should not doubt God. He has given you talent. You just need to tap into it. Ask Him. He'll show you. Okay, so I'm just gluing that smaller one right in the middle of the larger one. I'm finding the center in the bottom of this spindle. I'm going to start with a smaller hole and then the larger hole. Otherwise, that large drill bit will just bounce all over the place and I'll have a big mess. Ask me how I know. Now, you saw that little, I forget what that's called. You can use a little dowel stick, but I have that little, I do not have words. I'm going to use some of my Type Bond Quick and Thick in both of those holes. I'm going to put my peg, my wooden peg, there we go, in there and push it down really nice and tight. And then I'm going to do the same method for the bowl, but I'm going to screw it in to the top. Now, I have this cute fabric I've had in my stash for I don't know how long. I bought it as a scrap at a quilting store. And then I'm going to cut some little strips of drop cloth, and it doesn't tear so good, but then I'll just kind of rub the edges to make it look a little bit, frayed. And then I'm going to make a little bow. Now, just a little messy bow. We're going to go like that, and then I have that little piece of fabric tied around the neck, and we are going to just tie it up, and then I put a candle in the top with a few little extra strips of that fabric, which I think is cute. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You could put some Spanish moss in there. I think it'd be cute with a bird sitting in it, but let me know what you think about this. That's it for this video, friends. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Let me know which was your favorite. If you've watched one of the other gals' videos and you came over from their channel, please let me know in the comments below. At the time of this airing, this is the last video of the year. So I'd like to wish all of you a very happy new year. But most of all, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.